Hi everyone, we are going to be making the Parker on the Porch home coasters. This is the Colorado one because I live in Colorado. It's super cute. This is what the front looks like. This is what the back looks like. It has a folded over closure. Okay, so let's make this. I am going to start with my 5x7 hoop. I have one sheet of cutaway on here. You can use tearaway if you want. There is a spot in this design where you can pull it all off, but I don't really like to pull it through all these stitches. You know how it takes a long time to pull all that off, otherwise you might hear it. So I use cutaway. That's my suggestion. So I'm going to go ahead and meet you at my machine and I will show you how we start. Okay, I'm on my machine. I have my hoop on my machine. Again, this is one sheet of cutaway on my 5x7 hoop. I am running the Baby Lock Meridian right now. And this is the design. I have it all pulled up. So the very first step right here is going to be to stitch your placement stitch onto your tearaway. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I will come back and show you. Okay guys, this is what it looks like. It went ahead and did the placement of your coaster. I am making the bigger one. That there's two sizes. This is the bigger coaster. So this is the 5x5. Okay, so this is what it looks like. This very first placement shows you how big you need this fabric, the outside edge fabric right here. Whatever you want your outside to be, that's what you put down first. Now the way that I measure it, I'm using this right here, and let me show you what this fabric is. It came in a little bundle. If you like this fabric, it came in this bundle right here, and it's this Waverly brand that you get at Walmart in bundles. Okay, and there it is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. So I can go ahead and place it like this. I just place it over the thing, the direction I want it, up and down. And then I go ahead and just cut like that. And then I open this up, and you need two pieces. You need one for the front and one for the back if you're using this fabric for both. So I just go ahead and place it over and cut across. And then I place it over again and cut across again. Now I will show you, this one I make a little bit longer because you're gonna fold it over in the back. It's gonna be an envelope close type thing. So you need a little bit extra, so just a little longer. I'm gonna point out a couple things as we go through this design. So there's this, I already have them both ironed, then I'm just gonna iron them. This is just woven fabric. I'm not putting anything on it, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay, so this one would go right here. I am gonna go ahead and get my batting right here. I'm gonna use this batting right here. Okay, so you just need a piece the same size, and you only need one. I don't put it on the back. This is kind of bigger than it needs to be, so I'm just gonna cut it. Okay, so the next step, what you're gonna do is you're gonna put your batting over that placement, and then you're gonna make sure your fabric is also over that placement. Now this is how your design's in, and it's gonna be up and down like this. So however you place this fabric, the edges you're gonna see, you're gonna want it facing the right way if you have directional. You don't see very much of it here. It makes more of a difference on the back, but this design is gonna be straight up and down like this in your hoop if your hoop's placed like this. So go ahead and place your fabric how you want like that, and then meet me over at the machine. I'm going to show you what we do next. Okay, I'm back on my hoop, and we placed both the batting and your edge fabric that you want as your edge fabric on here. And we're going to go ahead and stitch the next step, and it's going to go ahead and tack that down, and it looks like this. This is what it's going to be stitching next. I'm going to go ahead and stitch that, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, it went ahead and tacked this fabric down. You can see that it's stitched all the way around here. Now you're going to go ahead and go to the next step. You don't need to do anything with your hoop. You're just going to go ahead and do the placement for the applique. So I'm going to go ahead and just stitch that right now. Okay, this is what it looks like so far. You have the outside right here, and then you have another circle on the inside. The inside circle is going to be your applique. So you need a piece of fabric, whatever fabric you want to go. I used this right here. This is like a linen. You can look up Essex linen, E-S-S-E-X linen. Robert Kaufman has a lot of them. That brand's really good. There's a lot of different ones. So just look up that, and you can get it. I bought this at Joann's, so I have this right here. That's what I'm using. okay? So you can use whatever you want. You can use woven too. You don't have to use linen, but that's what I'm using right here. So I have a piece of that right here. I'm gonna go ahead and place it over that placement stitch right there. And then I'm gonna go back to the machine and I'll show you what we're doing next. Okay, I'm back on my machine and you can see I just have this fabric placed over here. You need it placed over that inside circle. Okay, so I have it placed over that, just like that. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and run the next step. It's gonna go ahead and tack down that fabric to your coaster. I switched my thread to match this because I'm ultimately gonna use that for these lines and the outside stitching. So I went ahead and changed my thread and I'm gonna go ahead and stitch the tack down. Then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, here we are. This is what it looks like right here. Went ahead and tacked down our fabric. Now we're gonna go ahead and cut this excess fabric off. I'm gonna use these applique scissors. They're just kind of curved. Okay, and I'm just gonna cut around here. I get as close to the stitches as I can because when it does the next step, it's gonna do the next step's going to do the lines, but when it does the satin stitches, you want to make sure that this fabric doesn't show on the outside of your stitches. So I just get really close. I kind of just hold the fabric up and then cut close to here and it gets pretty close. Okay. And if you have any where it looks like it might be too far out, just go ahead and trim any places. Okay, so that's what it looks like right there. Now we're gonna go back to the machine and I'll show you what we're doing next. Okay, so I'm back at our machine. The next step's gonna go ahead and do the lines. You can see them, they're right here. It's tacking down these lines. So pick whatever color you want and go ahead and stitch the next step. Okay, that's what those lines look like right there. Now the next step is going to go ahead and do the satin stitching. I'm using the same color. If you want to switch your color, go ahead and switch it now, but I'm using the same color. So I'm going to go ahead and run that and I'll come back and show you. This is what it looks like right here. The satin stitch is down. Now we're going to go ahead and run the next step, which is going to go ahead and do the state. I changed my thread to the color I want, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, that's what the state looks like there. Now the very next step is going to be stitching the heart. So I changed my thread and I'm going to stitch that. I'll come back and show you. Okay, that's what the heart looks like. Super cute. So we're going to move on to the next step. The next step is going to do the home, the word home. So I went ahead and switched my thread to the color I want. I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. I'll be right back. Okay, this is what we look like so far. We're all done with the design. Okay, so now we're just going to put the back on. We got to do our last stitch step. So I'm going to show you how to put the back on. Okay, so it's facing towards me, my hoop. Okay, so you remember we cut that second piece of fabric that was a little bit longer. I already cut this. So like right here. So all I did was fold this in half and then cut it across. I went ahead and did that. Now I take one side and I go ahead and fold an edge so you have a clean edge. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and come over to my iron. I'm just going to fold this down and I'm going to iron it. I'm just going to let it sit for a second just so it kind of stays down. So one of these has a folded clean edge. I'm just getting a clean edge. You could do it on both. Some people like to do it on both. I only do it on one because it tucks underneath and you don't even see it. So I only iron one. The key to it though is the one with the folded edge has to go down first. And when you flip, then that will be on top and you'll have the clean edge, okay? So this design has these little markers right here. There's a stitch right here that goes on the outside of that circle, and there's a stitch down here that goes on the circle. That divides this coaster directly in half. So if you want to place your fabric exactly in half on the diagonal, then go ahead and use these stitch lines right here. I'm not using the stitch lines because I'm going to do it straight on, otherwise it's at an angle. The reason these stitch lines are at an angle are for people that like it directly in half, but it lets the coaster be this size. If the little placements were here and here, then it couldn't be this big. So by putting it on the angle, it lets this design be the right size. So that's why they're on the angle. I did it on the angle on this one, so I'll show you so you can see it both ways. Here's the home and how it looks. If you flip it directly over, it's on the angle sideways, okay? So that's what it looks like sideways versus straight on, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I'll show you angled and then I'll show you straight on. So the lines are right here. If you wanna go on the angle, go ahead and take the right side of your fabric, the one that has the fold. You have to do a fold on one of them so you can have a clean edge. And I would go ahead and place it right underneath these two lines right there. And then you take the other one. You can do a fold on this one if you want as well, but you don't see it and we close it. So I don't do it. It doesn't matter. And my fabric, my leaves are going both directions, so it doesn't matter which way I put it. So I'm going to go ahead and right sides down, and I place it over this fold, like right to here. Okay. And then you just want to make sure that your fabric goes completely over your outside placement stitch, and then you would go ahead and put it on your machine, and it's going to go ahead and close this, and then we'll flip through this hole is what we're doing. Okay, so if you want to do it on the angle, that's how you would place it. I'm going to go ahead and do it straight across without guides. I'm just going to eyeball it. So again, I'm taking the clean folded edge fabric first, right sides down, so the right sides are touching each other. I'm going to pull it like halfway up, what I think is halfway up. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my other fabric and I'm going to go ahead and place it over like that. Okay, now we're going to go back to the machine and I will show you what we're doing next. Okay, I'm back on my machine right here. It's going to go ahead and stitch a full circle, and then it's going to go and stitch around the other direction. So make sure the foot of your machine's not going to catch on here if you want to put tape on either side, or if you just want to hold it as it goes, or if you want to move your foot up so it doesn't catch this going the other direction. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stitch last step. We're on the very last stitch step, step 10. I'm going to go ahead and run that. I'll come back and show you. Okay guys, this is what we look like right here. It went ahead and stitched it. You can see the holes right here. This is what the top of the hoop and the underneath of the hoop looks like. You are done stitching, so you can take it off your hoop. Oops, okay. And then if you have tearaway, you can tear it away right now, but you would have to tear through all of these different things. If you have cutaway, you just cut it. So I'm going to use these scissors. They just make the turning, since it's a circle, like the edges a little better in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and cut like this. You're just going to cut all the way around without cutting any of your stitches. Okay. And this doesn't have to be pretty because it's going to be closed on the inside, so I'm not making sure any of it lines up right. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this right here. I'm going to just go in here and turn it. And this is just like a turning tool thing that I'm going to use to try make sure all the edges are kind of out. I'm going to iron this to try to get it to lay the way I want it to lay, like all flat. So hold on. Just going to iron it for a second. Okay. And there you go. Here's your front. Here's your back. You can see that they're straight up and down, whereas the back of this one, see how it's at an angle? So, okay. So now we're going to go ahead and close this. There are so many ways to close this. You could ladder stitch it if you're a hand sewer. You can use fabric tack glue if you want to use glue. You can use this double-sided tape if you want to use tape. You can use like these seam, like these steam seam things, just the different seam things. Jen from Park on the Porch, she likes to use the thermal web tape, which you basically just put the little edge right here and then you put it down and you iron it, and it's goes together. I looked for mine. I know I have some, but I can't find it. So I'm just going to use glue right now. My only warning with glue is if you gob too much of it, it actually goes on the other part of the fabric. Like on here, you can see that I have a little bit of glue residue right here. So if you don't want that to happen, for sure, don't use the glue. If I had the other stuff, I would use Jen's thing. You basically just put it under here. I can use this too if I wanted to, and then I wouldn't run the risk of that, but I'm just going to use glue. Okay, so you can close it any way you want. I'm just gonna get the glue going. I'm just gonna try to use less than I did last time so it doesn't spew out the top. Okay, I'm just putting glue across here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna push down. I just used too much last time, so. Okay, I'm just holding it down. Okay, and then that will dry in like 3 minutes, but you can see that it's already closed. This is what the back looks like. This is what the front looks like. Sorry, right there, front, back. Super cute gift too. So you can see a little bit of the design poking out around this edge. This print is pretty big, so you don't see as much there. For this project, you might want to use a fabric that has a smaller print so you can see more of it around the edge, but I think it looks super cute. I hope this tutorial helped you make this. If you have any questions, let me know. The best place to get help is posting over in the Facebook Parker on the Porch group. There's lots of people. There's several admin and Jen as well who designed this that can help. I'll help as well. And let me know if you have any questions. This is super cute and such a good Christmas gift. You can make a bunch of these for your neighbors. It's super cute. Something that they would use. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I will see you in the next tutorial. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great day.